Hi everyone, it's me again, only the lonely, always on my own on a Monday night. Yes, always on my own. Good to be back, by the way, because as you know, I was away. Um, no football tonight. It's tomorrow night. It's the football, and we've got a lot to talk about on tomorrow's show. We really have got a lot to talk about, which is great, by the way. It's just great to see that we came back again. I've got to come out with a title for the show, and all as I'm going to say, mentality monsters. That's all. Mentality monsters. And the Reds who are looking in, even now, will know what I mean about that. So, anyway, on tonight's little show, we've got honestly, we've got great history to talk about. We have fantastic, and I mean this, fantastic things to show, great things to show. Really have. And I think you'd be made up with them, to be honest. I really. And when you see these particular pictures, I'll be giving you the history behind them. And it's all about the waterfront. It's all about the waterfront and some dastardly things that was going on during the time. During the time. Anyway, so that's all in the show. And also, at the break, 9 o'clock, we have a clip. We have a clip to show as well, which I think you'll enjoy. Hopefully you will. So that's all in this show coming up. I just want to wish my very, very good friend, international artist, Anthony Brown. He's recovering now back at home because he's been in hospital for the past few weeks. And he's recovering at home. And he can't wait to get back on the show. So we just left the door open for Anthony. If you're looking in, Anthony, can't wait to have you back on. And we'll talk about your work, everything we'll be talking about. And he loves history, does Anthony. And, there's not too much I can say about this fantastic lad because as I said, he's an international artist. He was commissioned to do 100 Hertz Thinking as well, and he chose me. And I didn't know him personally. I really didn't know him personally. And he chose me alongside the Beatles. The Beatles. He chose me alongside surgeons, scientists, VCs, you name it. He chose me. Just an ordinary historian, an ordinary fella. And he brought me along and he said, I'm going to do you. And I went, oh. And he put the exhibition up. And it was incredible. That was in 2008 for the Capital of Culture year. European Capital of Culture, Liverpool. 2008. Absolutely wonderful stuff. We were exactly 801 years old in 2008. Our year of capital of culture, European capital of culture, that is. So, Anthony, please, when you're ready, get hold of Jason and we're on. We're just on, you and I. So, I just want to thank also the sponsors of the Frank Carlyle show. And it's none other than Gap Painting Services. Fantastic group of lads, all time served, fully insured. Believe you me, they do a fantastic job. They really do. Honestly, they do. I wouldn't say that otherwise. But these are top-notch lads. They go in, do the job, and they put everything back. Everything. And I'm talking about everything. And as I said, they're all top notch, all time served. And if you're an NHS worker, fantastic discount. If you're an OAP, again, a fantastic discount. So please, if you need anything done in the house, just get it done. or even if you own a firm or whatever, because it's not just domestic, it's commercial as well. These lads are the best. They really are. So that's Gap Painting Services for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle show, which is me. And as Charlie Cairns says, only the lonely, because I'm always on my own every Monday. And I'd just like to thank our Francine as well for carrying on with the podcast over there the last couple of weeks while I was away, sunning myself in sunny Turkey. Yes. Anyway, let's have a look at this. Mark Kinnish. Evening, Frank. Hope you're well. Thank you, Mark. Yes, I'm well. Really am. Thank you. And this lovely lady, Valley. Hello from Ohio, everyone. Great to see Frank back in the house. Yes. Thank you, Valley. Thank you so much. Great to see you back in the house. I'm glad I'm back in the house, believe you me. Excuse me. And I think we've got Redbirds, yeah. And they all talk to one another. They forget about Frank. They all talk to one another. Hey, Valley, how are you doing? Face red heart shape, yes. And she says, hello, back. And then talking about the game, and that was it. That was it. But I've got to go. Arthur Schofield, I've got to come back. Arthur Schofield. Welcome back, Frank. Hope all is well. And the holiday was a success. Yes. 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 Needed the break. Needed the break. Redbird. I'm ready for another great history lesson, Frank. Thank you, Redbird. You're going to enjoy this. Honestly, you are. And seeing our valleys from there, Frank's the best. But seeing that valleys from across the pond there, Liverpool has more connections with America than any other European city. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Any city in Europe, there's more connections here with Liverpool. Obama bin I love these names, you know. Just, am I the only one with my proper name? And Paul Valley as well. And Mark Kinnish. So proud of the Fiji rugby team, says Obama bin Laden. Yeah, to be honest, I love rugby union, I really do. And I haven't been following any of it, in all honesty. Our Frank is sound as a pound, says Redbird. Thank you. Brian Headley, good to see you back, mate. Hope Anthony gets better quickly. Hi, everyone, says Brian Headley. Thank you for that. Thank you. Not forgetting Anthony Brown. Lovely man. Just a lovely, lovely man. And as Valley says, Francine did an excellent job. Well done. Thank you, Valley. Thank you so much. No show is a hit without a star. That's you for sure. Oh, come on. Thank you, Arthur. Really appreciate it. And there's Shane McGowan from the Pogues. Tunes in every week. And he always sends me a pint of beer. Shane McGowan from the Pogues. Great fella. Great fella. And Brian says, Francine was a great host, Frank, and young Ben It's in the blood for sure. Yeah, Ben, I was watching it, and he was really good. He took me shopping yesterday, and I said, "Can you come on the show? You know, can you come in again?" He went, "Well, I'm in training." I don't know what he's in training for, but he's in training. But he said he will make it sometime because he loves his football, as you know, Brian. He really does. I'm going to go through these messages, and then I'm going to crack on with this. I think you're going to enjoy this, really. You are. You're going to enjoy this. I know you don't want to talk footy tonight, mate, but did the Prem teams do a minute silence for the flood victims? I don't know. I'm being honest, Brian. I always come on at the kickoff. That's when I do it. Watch nobody else. I watch it, a few games, but only the highlights to see what's going on, to see how our rivals are. But I only watch Liverpool, and I maybe one of the people will tell us. I just don't know. I really don't know. Maybe one of the people who are tuned in, will tell us. That's a very good question there, to be honest. A very good comment. Jay Kismet, you never walk alone. This fella. Blessings, Frank. Hope you're well and you enjoyed your holiday. Today is my birthday. And I had to come to see your show, bro. You never walk alone. Happy birthday, Jay. Really happy birthday. And we know what Kismet means. We know what Kismet means. And that's a bang on name. And it's a personal name. It's a personal name, by the way. Well, me personally, it's personal. And somebody else as well. You'll be tuning in, no doubt. That's a cracking name, Jay Kismet. Brilliant. Evening and Redbird. And Obama. What? Absolutely amazing. Evening, Frank. Welcome back and a big kiss. Lynn Ellis. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Lots of people are asking me for tours, Lynn. Loads of them. Kismet, you never walk alone, and happy birthday. Love you, says Valley. That's lovely, that. Kismet getting all the. This is lovely. This. Look, I've got to talk about some history. Look at it, these are all. Bless Red Bears and Valley, says Jay Kismet. What about me? I wish you a happy birthday as well. I'm only joking. That's lovely, that. And thank you. Much appreciated. At Valley, yes. That's lovely, that. Look, I've got to get these. Hello, Frank. Hope you're well and doing okay. Boss Red, says Lynn Stevenson. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. And you're a Boss Red yourself. Tomorrow will be great. It'll be, look at this. There's Daz. Daz Reynolds. Look at this, man. Big up, Frank. Jamie has just posted about his daughter. I don't know anything. Can you let me know, please? If you're still there, please let me know how his daughter is, Jamie Reynolds, Jamie Phillips's daughter. Please, Taz, let me know. Let me know. Please. Oh, fantastic. I hope she's well. I hope she's well. Dennis Paparak. Yesterday did a minute silence for the floods in Libya and the earthquake in Morocco. Thank you, Dennis, all the way from Tampa. All the way from Tampa. The man and his band, the Incurables. think I was incurable last week, to be honest. I was shocked. The sun was so hot. Frank, did you see it in Dalaman Airport? Frank, did I see you in Dalaman Airport on Thursday? You might have done, yeah, because I was coming home then. Pat, yeah, you did. You seen me. Why didn't you come over? People did come over, and I was even going, when I was going, John Lennon, this person said, "Are you Frank?" And I went, "Oh, hello." I didn't know it. And her husband, he's an husband. I recognised her husband, actually. I should have come over, Pat. Good God. Mohammed Ruzik Hassan. I hope I've pronounced that right. Okay. Good evening, everyone, says Mohammed. Good evening, Mohammed. And as hello and welcome, Mo. At Mo. This is fantastic. Look, I'm sorry, boys and girls. Have you been away, Frank? I never noticed. Behave yourself. Bloody I did. Is everyone it all went well, Frank? Thank you so much, Daz. Thank you so much for letting. I'll send a tweet tonight to him or X. I don't know. Made up. Everything went well, Made up. Really made up. Made up. Thank God for that. Really. Absolutely. That's made me night. It really has. Please, Daz, just send him a message from me, please. Do that for me, please. Oh, that's great, that. Look, wish Jamie and his family well, says Jay Kismet. Yes, of course. Last season, Liverpool were mud, but this season, Man United and Chelsea in the mud. Nice one. Nice one. Now then, Frank, question. What do you think of our European hopes this season? Happy birthday, by the way. It's not my birthday. But I think we'll win it, I'm being honest, because everybody's going to Ireland. I think was gonna shout, and my husband said, "Behave." You should have done. Oh, you should have done. Oh, blimey. You should have done, Pat. That would have been fantastic to see you. Oh, fantastic. Right. Red Bear says, "John, this is a history lesson, not a football tonight." Thank you. And it is. Taliban Airport, my partner last year. Olu Denise, a beautiful place, says Jake Kismet. Yeah, Olu Denise is it? Yeah. I went to a place called Darcy a few years ago. And I went to see Ephesus. If anyone's going, get to see. If anyone next year is going to go to Turkey, go to Darcy. It's easier to get to Ephesus. You'll be blown away. It's an old Roman city. It's absolutely fantastic. Off to Detroit 2 weeks from Friday, the Incurables gig, then the 40th high school class reunion on the Saturday. That should be fun. 40th anniversary, 40th reunion. That's unbelievable. Bring the incurables along because some of them might be a little bit ill. I'm telling you. What was the resort like, Frank, in Turkey? It was quiet. I went to a place called Ishmael, and it was quiet. But there was bars. You can make it, thing up if you like. Live bands, and there's a Liverpool bar, and very good. It was very good, but it was quiet. It wasn't boisterous, it wasn't very vociferous. I sat with the home fans on Saturday. The Liverpool fans looked brilliant, especially when Robbo scored. That was brilliant. I loved that. Oh, listen, I'm sorry. I love you all, but I've really got to crack on with this. Well, there'll be no show. There'll be no vase of flowers. Does everyone? Stephen Sleep. Good evening to you, one. Good evening to you, one and all. Tonight's show, not about football, but the Red Men did it once again. And this time, we have more than 10. That's our Stephen for you. Vase of flowers. Europa League looks good because there aren't many rival teams as good as LFC in it. Yes, I agree with you there, Vase of flowers. I love these names, Obama, Bin Laden, that's Redbird, Jakers with Vase of flowers. It's just unbelievable. Look, lads, I hope you don't mind. I've got to carry on. I really am. Philip Jones. Let's see what Philip says. Good evening, Frank. Good evening, Frank and family. Nice to see you online, Frank. I'd like you to meet my girlfriend, Vicky, one day. Yeah, that'll be nice, Philip, because Philip goes on all these tours that we do around Liverpool. Right, I'm going to start the show. I'm going to start it. These are all beautiful people. These are all great. You're all talking to one another, but I'll have to get some history done. Right, this. I want to start off with this, people. And what it is, this is from the Reverend Malthus, and his law of population demanded this: the total abolition of all present parish laws. Now, don't forget, the parish laws, they help people. And I'm wondering, this is in it was between 1798 and 1800, this. And he gathered people around. He gathered them all around him. And he said, now come here, he said, come all around. Now don't forget, this is a fella of the cloth. So they all went around and seen this fella. And it was hand to mouth then. So you've got to understand the mindset of these people. They must have thought that they were going to get some bread or something, like the feed of the 5,000. So he gathered all these around him, all these people, poor people, all poor they were. And here's what he said to them: we grant you poor a right to exist. We grant you poor a right to exist, but only to exist. The right to multiply you have not, nor the right to exist as befits human beings. You are a pest, and if we cannot get rid of you as we do other pests, you shall feel at least that you are a pest, and you shall at least be held in check, kept from bringing into the world other surplus, either directly or through inducing in others laziness and want of employment. Live you shall, but live as an awful warning to all those who might have inducements to become superfluous. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You can't really say nothing about this. The only thing that you can say is, where do these people come from? Shocking. Shocking, shocking, shocking. And this is the way it was. Now, as I said, this is between 1798 to 1800 when he gathered them all. And as I said, they were expecting, rounds of bread or something. And this is what they got. They wouldn't understand what he was talking about, by the way, because people, unfortunately, were illiterate. There was no education whatsoever. None whatsoever. The only education that people had around those times was in charity schools. That's the only education. And they were only taught the 3 R's. That's all. Arithmetic, writing, and reading, they were known as the 3 R's. And half of them couldn't, when they finished charity school, couldn't read or write, to be honest. And that's the way it was. That's the way it was. And just before I carry on, I just want to do this little thing I promised. And it's a great thing. It's the Legends of Variety. And Billy Butler, he's going to be hosting this. And it's at the Cavern Club. And it's in November. And this is all because of, it's a terrible thing. I hate saying the word, actually. Suicide. People who commit suicide. It's all mental health. And it's for the Samaritans. It's a charity for the Samaritans. Don't forget, people sit there. People sit there right through the night. And these are people who've got homes, but they sit there and listen. They're the big shoulder. They are the big shoulder to cry on. And it's a charity night for the unfortunate. And look who's on. Billy Butler. The old mate Daniel Taylor. A great actor. Great, great actor. Neil Tudor. Great singer, Neil. Liam Haywood. Ivan Stacks. Ivan Stacks is a crooner. And he's brilliant. I know Ivan. He's one of Liverpool's great singers. He really is. Pauline Daniels, and I know Pauline. I know them all, to be honest. But Pauline Daniels, great actor, great comedian, absolutely brilliant. And these people, the likes of Ivan Stacks, I know. As I said, he's a brilliant singer. I remember doing a function with him, and he was great. He was absolutely great. And he just stole the hearts of everybody. That's how good he is. That's how good he is. And I have to say that because he's married to a relative of ours. Not money joking, but he is married to a relative of ours. And just a great singer. Pauline Daniels, great actor, great comedian, great everything as Pauline. And Miss Sammy, An X Factor finalist, Brooks, is on, and it's 15 quid. Brilliant night. It'll be an absolute brilliant night. I'm going. I'm gonna go, and I will be paying. By the way, I will be paying. I don't want freebies or anything, but I will be going down. I'll be going down with that Francine. I just hope everything's all right. I really do. I really do. And there I am again. Look, there's me. But I'll be putting that up all the time as well, even with the football show. I'll be doing that simply because these charities need money. They really do, especially like these, suicide watch. It's shocking the way people just do these things. You've got to be very brave. I hate saying it, but you've got to be very brave to take your own life. But unfortunately, there's something desperately wrong, and it doesn't show on people. It doesn't show. You think that they're all right, but deep inside, they're hurting like mad. Please support this. If you're in Liverpool, please support it. I know I am, because I know the fella who's actually putting it on and what had happened to his daughter. Beautiful, beautiful looking girl. Shocking. Right. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? That's Liverpool, look. Now, what you've got is Liverpool. And you look and you go, well, where is Liverpool? Now, this is before 1207. This is before King John's Road Charter. And Liverpool was a little speck, and it was called Liverpool. And it was during the reign before King John came about. And what you've got to understand is that Liverpool, it's Latin, by the way, it's Latin. And it was spelt Lypole, Liverpool. That's how it was spelled. And there's different variations of spelling it, but that's the easiest way I know. It's the easiest spelling. So, but that's how it was. And where you got Mercia, which is the Mersey. Mercia. Now the Mercia, what it meant in Mercian language was boundary. So the River Mersey, as we know today, Mersey, it's boundary. The river boundary. That's what it should be. But it's Mercian language, as I said. So, if you look at this particular print, what you'd have St. Nicholas's and Our Lady's Church, as we know today. But that's St. Mary's, though. St. Mary's Church. Then it was built. And to the right, you've got the tower. And some people think, wow, is that the castle? No, it's not the castle. And that was taken around 1301. But I think it was before that. It was the very first image, by the way, of Liverpool, this particular image. The very first image of Liverpool. Taken by an artist, unknown. But anyway, that's the tower building. That's the first tower building. And St. Nick's Church, as we know today, St. Nicholas. Well, St. Nicholas and St. Mary's. Both denominations, by the way. Both denominations. And there's the 7 original streets. And if you look closely, you've got Juggler Street. And I'll explain why it was called Juggler. You've got Castle Street. So these particular streets, which is, you've even got Bank Street. Bank Street's there. Now, Bank Street, why is it Bank Street? Why bank? Was there any banks there? No such things as banks then. No such things as banks. You've got Chapel Street, which has always been there. And Chapel Street is simply because of St. Nick's Church, which is still there today. Then you have Moore Street. I can explain about that. I'll explain about that in a little while. In a little while. So this is what you have. This is what you have. These nice little streets. Bank Street, Chapel Street. You've got the Dale Street as well. The Dale, because where the town hall is, that's the only way I can explain. And then when you look down from the town hall down Dale Street, you'll see a little link line, if you look carefully. And then it goes up, then it goes down again towards the Mersey Tunnel. And that's what it was. It was a dale leading to the pool, because there was another river coming up the Mersey. I'll be showing you it in a moment. There it is there. If you look at the Mersey and it's got Sea Lake and it's got pool, well, that's the other river coming off the Mersey. People called it the pool. The pool. That's how we got our name. Liverpool. And it became Liverpool, right? Liverpool. And laver, if you don't know, is a terminology for seaweed. So we became Seaweed Pool because King John said, what's there? Because Chester is an antiquary of King John was going around, the country, saying, what do you think of King John? People are saying, oh, he's awful and all this nonsense, and oh, he's great, yeah, oh, smash it now. So he has a mixed opinions about him. So he gets to Liverpool, as we know today. And what he's seen, he's seen it from a place called Highton, not Highton, as people imagine. It was Highton. Hiratun. Highton. And Highton is Anglo-Saxon or whatever it was, meaning high town. High town. When I explain where, you'll understand. And it was Everton. Highton. High town. Looking down at the Mersey. And what he found was that it wasn't silting up like Chester, because Chester for 1,000 years, even 2,000 years, let's be honest then, going back 1,000 years or so, have been silting up ever since the Romans came over in AD 43. And even the Romans went, oh, what's all this? Because you couldn't embark or disembark troops quickly. So this antiquary said, this is great, this. We can embark and disembark troops as quickly as we can. See, don't forget that by 1207, you had the likes of the Norman invasions, you had the Vikings, you had everybody coming over. Saxons, Vikings, Normans, Romans, lend me your ears. So you had them all invading. So he needed somebody or somewhere to embark and disembark troops. And he thought, oh, this is great, this is Liverpool, So anyway, he gets down to, and one thing he's seen actually, one thing I nearly forgot. One thing he's seen when he was viewing this place that didn't exist was a one-masted vessel on the shore. And that one-masted vessel, when he went down, what it was an Irish ship, one-masted Irish ship. And when he inquires where this particular person came from, he said, I'm from Ireland, and he was trading goods with the local people. So what he thought was, well, this is the quickest route to Ireland. He was amazed up with that. Whoa, this is great. So when he gets back down to the king, the king said, well, what was it like? Do people like me? And he said, well, some did and some didn't, king. And he said, well, anything else? And he said, well, listen, there's a smashing place and nobody owns it. I've asked around, nobody owns it. And it's got a river. It's got another river coming in. And he said, well, what's it called? He said, well, it's called nothing. He said, well, what's there? He said, well, people call this other river the pool. So he said, yeah, and anything else? He said, yeah, there's loads of labour there. Loads of it, which is seaweed. So he said, okay, we'll call it Labour Pool. And that was it. He was absolutely delighted with all this. He said, well, okay, we'll give it a Royal Charter, because he knew the importance and even the strategy of Liverpool, the new Liverpool, for his troops to embark and disembark. So he said, well, okay, we'll get over the Earl of Chester. He said, oh, I wouldn't get him, mate. He said, why? He said, because he called you forever. He said, did he? He said, how are you? He went, all right. He said, get up to Lancaster and get the sheriff down from there to take over Liverpool, to oversee the new borough of Liverpool. So he said, okay. So the sheriff came down. William de Ferris. William de Ferris, his name was. And you can tell that he's from a Norman dynasty, William de Ferris. So he came down, and the first thing that he built when he got here was a castle, and it had to be high up from the river. So we flattened what we know today. He flattened James Street, the top of James Street. So we built a castle. And he also got an old Roman street plan out. And that's what you're seeing there, an old Roman street plan. And it's like a letter H. A letter H. And that's where he named the 7 original streets. Now, why was Juggler Street called Juggler Street? Because when people went to the castle to entertain, when he had dignitaries up, the sheriff, I get in here and we'll have some feasting and whatever. They used to have acrobats, they had jugglers, they had minstrels, they had musicians. And the jugglers always led the procession to the castle. Hence, Juggler Street. And that's what you have today. You can still see the letter H, where you've got like Castle Street and Water Street. Because Water Street, don't forget, Water Street was known as Bank Street because of the banks of the river. That's why. See, still got Daylesford. So there's the letter H there, still there. And there it is again. Sea Lake, as it says, the River Mersey. Isn't it brilliant? Liverpool, see, there was different. That was in 1572, by the way, Liverpool. And that's a town. By the time 1572 came about, in 17, I'm sorry, why am I saying 17? In 1565, there was a great storm. And it's documented as the Great Storm. And it happens on the 23rd of December. 23rd of December. And it blew away everything. The only things that was standing was the tower building I've just shown you. The castle, which you haven't seen yet, which you will do in a moment. The little town hall, that was a house that John Cross gave, so that business could be conducted there rather than the castle, and that became the town hall. And tower building, as I mentioned, they were the only things that was left standing. And on December the 24th, Christmas Eve, the grandson of John Cross, who gave the first town hall to Liverpool, which was his house, as grandson became mayor. And he gathered them around and he said, listen, lads, what I want you to do, I want you to stay with me and let's build Liverpool. Let's build it up from stone. Now, back in the day, you had to have licenses to build from stone. But he said, we're going to build from stone anyway. That's no problem. Let's build. So by 1566, Liverpool became the very first stone township. By 1301, let's go back a couple of hundred years, Liverpool was a paved town. A paved town. Because I'll show you something later on. I'll show you something later on. And there you've got Liverpool there. Look at that wonderful picture. And you've got St. Nick's Church on the left. You've got the Tower Building next to it. You've got all these little houses and other things, all built from stone. You've got a customs house. I wish I could point it out, but it's right next to the Tower Building. A little white building right on the shore. And then you've got the castle. You've got the castle. And you've still got the other river, which is known as the Pool, coming in. And there it is again. And the very top where you've got the number 7 there, that was left standing as well because, believe it or not, the Romans built, when they camped in Everton, the Everton area, they built a tower and it was used as a semaphore, like a big traffic light. It was built like a traffic light because the Romans circumnavigated the whole of the British Isles. They circumnavigated it. And a fellow named Ptolemy, by the way, wasn't Egyptian, could have been, I don't know, but he was Roman anyway. Ptolemy, he circumnavigated it and printed it out, believe it or not. So that was that, and that was left standing. So as I said, by 1566, Liverpool became the very first stone township. How about that? And this fella here is John Leland. Now, John Leland was an antiquary. He was an antiquary of Henry VIII. Now, what you can see in the background is to his left, the St. Mary's Church on the hill, because that church was actually built in Walton in 960. 960. The church, not today's church, because it got bombed in there. And so they rebuilt it, but that's the church, St. Mary's, the oldest church on Merseyside. Brilliant stuff. But John Leland, where you see that lady in the background, just standing there, that was the very first grammar school built in the northwest of England. That was built then. That was around 1525, 6, something like that. But he was there in 1537, and he stayed there. And he wrote something which I haven't got, unfortunately. I was looking for it last night, and it's somewhere. It's somewhere in my files. But I was looking for other things, as you can imagine, and I couldn't find it. But he said the very first opening was Liverpool, alias Liverpool, a paved town. That's what he said exactly in that grammar school when he was writing. The very first thing ever written about Liverpool, and he wrote it. Liverpool or Liverpool, alias Liverpool, a paved town, which is significant, that really was. And he was talking about trade as well, with Manchester people talking about trade. They had to come down because they was trading with ships. Trading with ships. Ships were coming into Liverpool. And believe it or not, I actually taught in that grammar school, and it's still there today. Fantastic. It's only a tiny place, but I used to hold some history stuff there, history lessons. Great stuff. And there you have the letter H again. Now, what I want to talk about here, where you see those lines around, where you actually see those lines around, they're fortifications. And these fortifications was to keep the royalists out during the 1642 conflict, Civil War. And what he did, he said, listen, let me just go back a minute. Let me go back. Where you see, the little town there, and you see like bare, ground leading up to that particular beacon that the Romans built, that was full of trees. That was full of trees. Really was full of trees. And you have to have a license to cut down trees. I don't know whether you're aware of that, but you have to have a license to do everything. But Cromwell, because it was a civil war, he said, listen, chop them down. I'm giving you permission to chop all the trees down, which they did. And they built these fortifications. They built these fortifications around during the Civil War. And what they did is, with the logs of wood, they pointed them at the end, like a pencil pointed, and they stuck them in. So it was like this, like that, pointed up, like that. So any sort of, onslaught from the enemy, they would help to keep them out. They would help to keep them out, which is fascinating, actually, during the Civil War, because Prince Rupert came here during the Civil War. And when you think about what was happening at the time, when Prince Rupert came, why is Liverpool so important? And it's never mentioned in the bloody history books. Never mentioned. And this is what I can't understand. Hardly mentioned. Anyway, it was a strategic point, Liverpool, to get the Irish over. Because albeit that the Irish were very reluctant to help the English, they were being forced over into armies for the Royalists and also for the parliamentarians. So it was very strategic place to be, Liverpool, to get to Ireland. So Rupert came here in May 1644, and he was here 18 days trying to take the castle. He was trying to take the castle, Prince Rupert, and he couldn't. And he used up all his gunpowder and everything. But he finally took it. He finally took the castle, having killed 360 people. 360. You know, they were little troops. But Colonel John Moore, he held the castle for the parliamentarians. But when he seen the Royalists coming, he got off in the night because they were doing like what we call today, like a panzer threat. Panzer threat, 3 sides to take the castle. And someone said to him, it was in the middle of the night, you know, you only see battles were won and lost in a day. Because when it went dark, everybody went home or, you know, stayed out or whatever. Some went home. There was many battles where, you know, soldiers went out and getting off, got home, went home, just that's enough of this. So battles were won and lost in a day. It's a very famous Shakespearean quote, actually. So anyway, he was going to do a panzer assault, a pincer, not a panzer, did I say panzer? Sorry about that. A pincer assault. And assault, and Colonel John Moore with his troops got off. He made a cowardly escape, in other words. So he got off. And they took it. They took it in June. They took it in the June, took 18 days from the May till the June. And once he took it, he put people in charge of the castle and he got off to Marston Moor in Yorkshire, just outside York. And there he was defeated. He was defeated, Prince Rupert and the King. The Battle of Marston Moor against the parliamentarians. Because by the time the troops from Liverpool came up, they had to walk, you know. They had to walk. So they get to Marston Moor and they were bedraggled, they were bloodied, they ran out of gunpowder, which was the richest commodity then at the time. That was it. It was over. It was over. And Charles I, he made an escape to the Scots where he handed himself over. He weren't going to do anything to him, so he handed himself over. And basically that was the end of the war. Basically. Because there was no king. He exiled himself into Scotland. And we all know what happened afterwards. So when you look at that, just look at that particular print. Look at the ships. Those ships are like tankers. Look at them. They're like tankers. On the Mersey. Look at all the brick houses. Look at it. And you know, people say that Liverpool, before the slave trade, was a little fishing village. That's no fishing village. You don't see a custom house. You don't see a castle. You don't see a big town hall. You don't see a big tower building. It's amazing what they say about the slave trade. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, that's that. And what I'm going to do now, I'll just leave you with that, people. You see it in full view there. Everything. Stone Township. Absolutely brilliant. And that's in 1580. And that significant date, 1580, that's when Liverpool became a free port, what you call a free port. But I'm going to show a clip now because it's gone past the hour and Jason will be waiting there to show this clip. Enjoy it.
This is the famous Cunard building, the middle of the Three Graces, built in 1916 by Villing and Thicknessy. Samuel Cunard came over from Canada in 1848 and set up the famous Cunard Line. The most famous ships of the Cunard Line are the Lusitania, the Mauretania, and of course the Queen Mary, which incidentally was designed in this building. If you would have been lucky enough to have travelled on one of the Cunard's liners, you would have seen a similar stairwell to this. There was no expense spared because the shipping lines at the time were so lucrative, and as you can see, the sumptuousness of the interior. The architects Villing and Thicknessy deliberately kept a part of the original dock wall built by the French prisoners of war. It's a little bit different, as you can see down here, from the lavishness upstairs. And through this door is Liverpool's architecture unseen, and the wall built by the French prisoners of war in 1807. So follow me. Here is the original wall that was deliberately left by Villing and Thicknessy. There it is. This is the magnificent boardroom where the plans for the Mauretania and Cunard's flagship, the Queen Mary, were actually designed. The boardroom is a masterpiece in itself. Just look at the spectacular views of the Mersey. Incredible. This corridor is based on the Queen Mary first class passenger corridor, and just look at it, it's absolutely magnificent. Today, the offices are used for legal services, and they still have to make a cup of tea, but in this case, it's no ordinary kitchen. They have their own galley, or, as in this case, their own mess room. Further down into the Cunard building, here we find the original air raid shelter that the people used during the Second World War. The people including the staff of the building and also the armed forces. How do we know that it's the air raid shelter? Because all the clues are still here to say that it was. Let's go further back to the early part of the 20th century, when the passengers who were actually sailing from this building had to leave their luggage in these racks here. Everybody's talking about smoking bans. Let me tell you, it's not a new thing. You could easily be deceived by looking at this place. It could easily be a brig, a bridewell, a jail. In fact, it's as safe as ours, and I'll tell you why. Behind these steel doors, the first-class passengers had all their valuables, whether they be famous paintings from Europe, furniture, jewels, everything. And they hired these safes for safekeeping. The rooms were very basic, as you can see, but at least all the valuables were kept safe, except this one. Maybe they forgot the key and never returned.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that? That's just saying Kenny Dalglish fanatic, because you have to go right down. And he says, Frank, I know Liverpool building was built in 1908 and opened in 1912. I think I'm right, because my family has history there. Liver building, yes, you're right. You're so right there, Kenny, because each building took 4 years to build. 4 years. And the Liver building is so significant because it was the very first reinforced steel infrastructure in the world. Steel. And Aubrey Thomas, who was the architect, he wanted all this. And people say that it was built on bales of cotton. No, it wasn't. The bales of cotton, where they got mixed up with the bales of cotton, which is quite correct, by the way, was that water was seeping in all the time. So they got the bales of cotton to soak up the water until they got the pumps working. Until they got the pumps. Each building on the Mersey has pumps there going 24/7. 24/7 all year round, every day. Every single day, because where those buildings are, that's all reclaimed land. Everything is reclaimed land. Showed a picture, a print the other week, where you see St. Nick's Church and the water right up there. Right up there. And if you know the Strand, if you're from Liverpool and you're looking in, that's where the water went to. Where the Tower building was. The Tower building. Let's just go back. Let's just go back on this. Let's see. You see there, you can't. I wish they had a little pointer so I could point out where you see the waterfront there, and you see Tower building. Right, that's where the water went right up to. And if you know Liverpool, you'll see today's Tower building. Today's. Now, it's see. There's nowhere. There's no Liver building. There's no Cunard building. There's no particular Port of Liverpool building, and that's where the water went right up to, because it's all reclaimed land. Where you see the Albert Dock, where you see the Liver, the Cunard, and the Port of Liverpool building. Everything is reclaimed. And that's why they have the pumps going. And you look at this. Now, that's the castle there. You've got the castle below as well. And I've got a colour print of that somewhere. I can't bloody well find anything. But I've got a colour print of that. And that is during the Civil War. That particular print, because you see soldiers, you see royalists standing there because they just captured the castle in 1644. On the other, on the direct right, that's where, before the dock system, they used to bring the ships onto the beach, onto the shore, and repair them. They're big ships, then. They're like big galleon, big tankers today. And you see the face changing, the face of the waterfront changes dramatically. It really does. And there, believe it or not, is the new Baths George's Parade. And the architect, he built some fantastic buildings in Liverpool. He really did. And his name was John Foster Sr. And he built that in 1801. Now, they pulled it down. That was the first Baths. And they pulled it down in the late 1950s, early 60s. Would you believe that? They pulled that down instead of leaving it. Architectural wonder it was. Some of the city planners are absolutely useless. Useless. That would have been magnificent on the banks of the Mersey today. It stands now where the ferry terminus is. They're just behind. It would have been behind the ferry terminus. But just imagine that there. White stone. White. Look at it. Magnificent arches. Columns. Magnificent picture. Magnificent. See, and that's the way it was. That's the way it was. That was Liverpool. Look at it. Isn't it absolutely amazing? There's the Custom House. The Custom House again, it was bigger than St. George's Hall. Bigger than St. George's Hall. But it's at the same stone as St. George's Hall. Just look at it. Magnificent. I'll tell you more about it in a little while. And there's your dock system. The dock system started in 1715. It took 6 years to build the very first wet dock in the entire world, from 1709 to 1715. 6 years it took, because they closed off the river, as we know as the Pool. They just closed it off, and they built overhead the river. And the water is still underneath. If you ever walk down Chapel Street, Paradise Street, Chapel Street, going towards the Mersey, the water's still there. And we had a fountain in Williamson Square, and that was the original water from the Pool that was sprung up, and they've stopped it for some reason. I don't know why. Don't ask me. Historical. And there's a poem that goes around it, around this fountain, huge. And I did a line about the castle. They asked me to do a line, and the poem. Roger McGough had written the poem, and I was asked to do a line. So I said, yes. So I did something about the castle. The poem. It's still there today. Still there today. So if you look at that dock system, the way it was going back, Look at it. Fantastic. Fantastic. 1852 that was taken. I've got a magnificent map. I'd love to show you it, but it's too big. It's huge. And it was taken from a balloon by a Frenchman. Went up in a balloon and he looked down at Liverpool. And it's absolutely, I'd love to show you that, I really would. I can't even take a photograph of it because by the time it's condensed, you won't be able to see anything. But if you ever go on a walk with me, I'll show you the door. I've got magnificent, big. Hang on a minute. Show you. I'll give you some idea. I'm not taking them out. I'm not taking these out. And this is what I've got them in. It's a tube. And this is the size of it. I'm still going up with it. Look. That's the size. That's the size of the maps that are in the tube here. Unfortunately, I can't take them out to show you because they're too big. They're too big. They're too big. But I just think that the fantastic maps, and one of them is by that French fella. And if you look at this particular picture, look at it. There's the Albert Dock. Unbelievable. Incredible. Look at that. Brilliant pictures of the ships. Brilliant pictures. And when you look, you can see the overhead railway. And that building next to St. Nick's Church, that was the second tower. That was the second tower. And it was built by Sir James Picton. And they knocked the original tower down and built that by Sir James Picton. Then that was knocked down. That was knocked down around 1896. And they built the original tower today. It was the same fella who built the Liver building, W. Aubrey Thomas, which is great, by the way. And what you've got, as I said, is if you look to your right, you see the stairwell on both sides leading up to the overhead railway. The very first electrified overhead railway in the entire world. It was electrified, the first electric train. Think about it. Overhead. Sir Douglas Fox and James Greathead. Sir Douglas Fox was the brains behind it. And James Greathead was his sidekick. And he gave Liverpool a first, absolutely brilliant, first electrified escalator in the world. Think about that. First electrified signals for the railway. An incredible achievement, incredible engineering feat of the 19th century. And it's had a 60-year span. 60-year span. From 1897 right up to 1957. And it stopped. And they pulled it down. Think about that. Think about that. Pulled it down. I just want to go back a minute. Just want to go back. You see You see the customs house, that was the 5th custom house. I mentioned John Foster Senior before, building those beautiful bats. That was his son who built that. That went up in 1828. And where you see the dome there, during the war, an incendiary bomb went right through it. And it destroyed or just gutted 2/3 of the custom house. And it could have easily have been saved. Preservationists wanted it saved. They were saying, please don't pull it down. Please don't pull it down. They pulled it down. Imagine that there today. Where's your Vash Parkers now? Imagine that there today. Sickening. Sickening. Could have easily have been saved. There's the Port of Liverpool being built. Oh, brilliant building. That was the first to go up. Sir Ronald Cornley was the architect. A magnificent building. Members of my own family who are terrazzo floor layers from Italy, lay some of the mosaic, which I'm very proud of, by the way. There it is in all its glory. And then you've got the one on the direct right. That's where the Liver building's going to be built. And in the middle, you've got the Cunards, which was going to be built. Each building took only 4 years to build. That's all. 4 years, because they were like ants. The workers, loads of them, thousands of them, all doing a great job. And there's the Liver building being built. And the Liver building, that was completed in 1911, in all honesty, but they had to build the towers then, or the nest for the birds. And they brought in a lad from Germany by the name of Carl Bernhard Bartels. And Carl Bernhard Bartels sculpted the birds. 34 foot high. The birds. To overlook the city, one to overlook the city and the other to overlook the sea, to look after the sailors. And the one that overlooks the city is to look after us here, the citizens of Liverpool. A magnificent building, I must say. One of the most iconic. And in the background, just jutting out, that's the 3rd tower that was completed in 1911. Just a year before the real completion of 1912 of the Liver. And again, it was by the same architect. Brilliant. W. Aubrey Thomas. Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Just sickens me. And as you can see, just in front of the Liver, you can actually see the bats. You can actually see the bats. Just imagine that there today, in all its glory, white stone. Just like that, the Liver. But it wasn't right there, you know, at the pollution. And there's the Cunard being built. Isn't that a magnificent, magnificent picture? Again, 4 years to build. And there's the overhead railway, as you can see. You've got the Salthouse Dock, you've got Canning Dock, the Albert Dock. And there's the Custom House that you can see, bigger than St. George's Hall, as I said. The size of it's incredible. It's just incredible. Look at the size of that. Well, that's Shavas Park today. I wished I had a little pointer. I could point a few buildings out. Where you've got the White Star Line there, see? You've got the White Star Line. Which is still prevalent today, by the way. Magnificent. And that was taken in 1928. Then a war started and messed everything up. Messed everything up. And look at that. And that's our waterfront today. Sunrise. Sunrise. It's so magnificent, it really is. The way the waterfront over the years has changed. Some say for the better, some say because of, there's buildings between the Port of Liverpool building with the dome and the Albert Dock. And I'm being honest, I don't like this museum. I think it's awful. Shouldn't be there. Should have been further up, wherever they wanted to build it, or even inland. And then you've got the black granite buildings, which I've never, ever liked. Ever. And we're left with them. But Steve Garnett done this, a collage. And look at that. Isn't that absolutely magnificent? Does anybody know what that bridge is? Well, that bridge, they've kept it for prosperity. And what it was for sailors, it was for passengers, it was for everybody to get from A to B to the ships. Isn't it magnificent? At least it's kept. It's going to be kept just like that, the way it is. Magnificent. And at least they got that right. Instead of, normally they would have just took that away, taken our heritage away. It's just absolutely magnificent. And if you're a Liverpool fan, you can actually see it's like a black and white building just right next to that little tower on the right. And that's where LFC TV is. I used to go in there when I was on there. I used to go in there. Me. LFC TV. They still show, I believe, documentaries. They still show documentaries, which is good. I'm just wondering if you've got any questions to ask. This is madness. They're all made up that they're talking to themselves and really made up. Jay Kismet, let's go from here. Jay Kismet, royals stole everything and gave themselves that royal title. Embarrassing people. Yep. It's not just the royals, it's the hangers-on who are lords and ladies. And you've only got to look at that Moan girl and the PPE. She made millions. And the government said billions went missing. And the government had just come out and said, oh, forget about it. These are the people. I don't vote for them. But people do vote for them. Look at all the billions. We've still got 4.5 million children. Think about it in this country. 4.5 million below the poverty line. Think about that. Think about that. 4.5 million children. I know teachers, excuse me, I know teachers. I never made myself a cup of tea. I should have done. But anyway, during the break, I should have made one. You've got children and teachers. I know a few teachers. They're actually buying sandwiches for them and little soft drinks because they're coming out without breakfast. Think about it. We've got bloody food banks in the 21st century. Food banks. Food banks. Kenny Dalglish, the Titanic. Yeah, that was the build. I'll be doing something on that. Just bear with me 1 sec. I'll show you something. Just bear with me, please. I have got the cover somewhere. And here's a DVD. Hope you can see this. The title is, see me eye there? The title is Why They Sank Her. That's a DVD, though. Why They Sank Her. I want you to think about that. I really want you to think about that title. I bet you haven't seen this before. Where am I? Where am I? Let's see. Frank Carlyle, I'm leaving you behind. And that's a song. Yes, Frank has made a song. So that's a DVD. Oh well. So you've got this magnificent city. You've got so much hidden history, and the hidden history, I like to come out with it. That's why I made DVDs. But there were some things I couldn't mention. No, you can't say that. Why? It's fact. Anyway, let's see what these people have said. I'm gonna rewatch this tomorrow so I can let it all sink in, says Red Bit. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you, Frank. You're the bomb. Jake Hughes, that's Red Bit. Jake Hughes with top info and facts. Frank, born to be on TV. You'll be able to see me on Channel 5 next month. I think it's next month. Talking about Charles Dickens. So you'll be all right. I know him. Made a few talks, actually. One of the best, a friend of mine phoned me up and he went, "Hey, Frank, you're on the telly." I don't watch myself, I'm being honest. He said, "You're on the telly." I said, "Am I?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "What am I in?" He said, "The Gunpowder Plot." I went, "Oh, okay." The Gunpowder Plot. Lynn Ellis, brilliant. Thank you so much, Lynn. Lynn organises all these coach tours and walking tours. She's great, Lynn. And every year she does them. Every year. And she says, "Frank, can you do them for us? Will you be there?" I say, "Yeah." Because Lynn is a good friend of mine. And Mark Kinnish, yes. I don't know where Mark's gone. But anyway, she says, "Brilliant." Valley says, "Redbeard, I must agree, not kidding when I say Frank Carlyle is the absolute best man on earth." Best man on earth. Mess Room, interesting title, say Jake Kisbert. Frank is a legend. These videos were done a while back, but it's still good to know how the masses used to live. Yes. Thank you, Jake Kisbert. Thank you. And Joy says, Kenny Dalglish. Oh, thank you. Superb, Valley, she says. The short video takes are intriguing and full of information about the place where millions of people around the world are fascinated by, says Jay Kismet. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if you're still listening in and tuning in, because this is the history show, what would you like me to talk about? What would you like me to talk about? I can talk about famous murders, but I do controversial murders, by the way. I don't do cut and dried murders. I do controversial murders. That's what I do. You want me to talk about them? Jay Kismet says, "Valley, you have to visit Liverpool." Yes. And she says, "I will be there come spring. I'm moving to your fair city." Mark Curtis, yeah, that great pictures, Frank. Love the one showing the pool going up the side of the castle. Yes. I like what, thank you, Mark. I like what Jay Kismet Redbird says here, by the way. Just prove us Scousers have always been resourceful from the very start. You're right. You're so right, because Chester, I only said it briefly before, Chester held a monopoly on Liverpool, and yeah, we were paying them taxes. Ships coming into our city, we were paying them taxes. So our merchants brought them down to the Master of the Rolls in London, and they said, "This isn't fair. We're paying them taxes, while the ships are coming to us, and we're getting nothing back." So the Master of the Rolls, even the Liverpool merchants thought they're going to fine for Chester, but they didn't. They found for us. So we became, in 1580, the very first free port. And that's when you come into Liverpool, you're driving by car, it says, "Welcome to Liverpool, the free port." Free port. Think about it. Thank you so much. Frank is my hero. Mark Kennis. I can't go. Jay Kismet. When certain groups of people are resourceful, they get a lot of jealousy from other folks. That's a brilliant comment, though, says Jay Kismet to Redbird. Because as Redbird said, we're very resourceful, and we are very resourceful. If you think about it, as I mentioned before, by 1301, but it was before 1301, by the way. But I haven't got the exact date, but I know by 1301, Liverpool was a paved town, the only paved town. I'll definitely dig out what John Lelland said, the antiquarian librarian to Henry VIII about Liverpool. The very first piece of writing about Liverpool was by him in 1537. So I'll get that. I'll dig it out somewhere. It is somewhere. It is somewhere. We'll definitely meet up, bro. Redbird, the next time I am there for sure, says Jay Kismet. You have to come and visit me, Jay Kismet. They sure love pulling our great stuff down, don't they, Frank? Yes, says Mark Ennis. Yes, they do. Redbird's say to Valley. Valley Spring is only around the corner. Don't forget your brolly. Yeah, definitely. Don't forget your brolly even today. Redbird. Kenny Dalglish fanatic. Famous architect was Archibald Leach, who built Goodison and Anfield, amongst many things. Yes. Yeah. True enough, Kenny. Mark says, when you think, Frank, only real old buildings still standing around Chapel Street today is St. Nicholas Church. Yes. Yes, the oldest. Don't forget that it was bombed as well, and the steeple was put up in 1812. No, it wasn't. It came down in 1812, the original, and killed all these little schoolgirls from a charity school. And it went up in 1815. That's what you see today. Mark Hirsch says, Frank, remember you saying about the fountains in Williamson Square? Apparently the excuse was reason they stopped the fountains. They got clogged up. Yeah, that was an excuse. After a couple of months, it stopped, and they were saying, oh, it's the clogging up, it's so easy to stop all that clogging up. So easy. And Jay Kismet says, Mark, they have got rid of many old buildings around the world and replaced them with modern day architecture. And Redbird says, Mark, the destroyers are full of bull. Same can be said today. Absolutely. Frank, did you have a map, says Mark Kinnish? Frank, did you have a map once showed an old wall around William Brown Street? Sadly, you never got the map back. Yes. I've got it though. I got a copy. And I didn't get it back, but I did get it back in a sense, Mark. I'd love to show you it. I've got it here. Actually got it here in this tube. In this tube, how long have we? Let's see. Let's see. So, just make sure. Oh, that's not. Just that. No, that's really where it might be. Excuse me. Sorry about this. But you can see the size of these bloody maps, can't you? Huge. I used to have exhibitions when I gave talks. I used to have exhibitions when I gave talks. Especially at I gave a talk at the Anglican Cathedral. And there's an exhibition. It was really good. With all my wonderful things. I don't know whether I've got it, still got it. I'll give you some. Oh, grief. I'll give you some idea of a map. That's got huge. Huge. But you lend stuff out, you never get them back. This is a fantastic map. It's the smaller of a few. I can't even see. Well, that's Liverpool. That's Liverpool. You can see the Albert. Really can't hold it up for you. But you've got the Albert Dock there, right in the middle there. You've got the city going into the city. You've got Everton up there where the hills are. But this is the smaller of the maps I've got there. And they're absolutely wonderful what I've got. I'd love to show you all, but the unfortunate thing is I can't bloody show you it because there are too many things. But this is my creme de la creme. This is my kit. The others are all coloured, but they're too big to show. They really are, but this is the creme de la creme, what I've got. And I can't even condense it. And this was drawn by a fellow in a balloon. You've got St. George's Hall there. You've got the Western Hotel facing St. George's Hall. Where am I? Where this is Lime Street Station just here. So you've got St. George's Hall just over there. You've got the Mersey. Let's try and move this mic out the way. I want to show you something. Sorry about this. Sorry about that. Let's see. Let's see. There's loads of stuff. You can't see it. There's loads of stuff on there. You've got the Custom House you can't see, unfortunately. You've got the Town Hall. There's loads of it. Even Central Station. It looks like a round thing there. You know, that's... Let me try and get this. Let me try and get this. Let me try and get this. You've got Central Station here. Can you see it? There's Central Station there. The size of it there is unimaginable, it really is today, as it is today. There's the Bombs-Out Church at the bottom. See, and as it says, taken from a balloon in 1885, and it was a Frenchman. It's brilliant when it's up, you know, shown, this particular map, because you see so many. You've been going on about buildings that have been pulled down, and it is a crime. Buildings that could have easily have been saved. As I mentioned before, they wanted to pull down, believe it or not, St. George's Hall and the Town Hall in 1984. Think about it. 1984. They wanted to pull it down. He didn't. You know, I've saved a few buildings that I'm very proud of, to be honest. The Lyceum, they wanted to pull that down the bottom of Bowl Street. Come on. That was built by, as I said, in 1801, 1778. No, hang on, 1777. It started to be, oh, what am I talking about? 1797, it started to be built. And it was completed in 1801. They wanted to pull it down. The Lyceum, they still want to pull it down, to be honest. But anyway, I managed to save that. The White Mansion House in Calderstones Park, they wanted to pull that down. Never had a clue about the history behind that building. That was managed to be saved. The Collegiate in Shaw Street. I was working Liverpool Hope University at the time, and I got wind that they wanted to pull it down. I said, you can't do that. Why? Anyway, got that sorted. Saved. Yeah, as Mark Kenny says, Frank, didn't you have a map once that showed the wall? I've got it there. That's what I've just shown you, but I couldn't show you the wall because you wouldn't have been able to have seen it. And Frank, could you open a museum to show all your old maps and pictures? That would be a sight to see. As I said, what did I teach you? No. As I said, Redbird, I used to give exhibitions because the maps are they're huge. They really are huge, and I can't even show them on here. And they're all colour. You've only got to look at the top of this. Look, see, they're all colour. These are huge. Look, see, they're huge. And they're full of acetate. Acetate. I've got 5. Jason's put something up. I'm going to show it. Let's see. There's me map. There's me map. I've been trying to show. Good grief. There's me map. Isn't that fantastic? I know it's condensed. Ah, look at it. Isn't that magnificent? And it's still condensed. I can see everything that I want to see. St. George's Hall, the Western Hotel, Lime Street Station with the glass covered roof right behind the Western Hotel. That was the largest glass roof in the entire world, Lime Street Station at the time. Isn't that, Jason, you're a genius. Thank you. I can see the custom house from here. God, I just love to point it out. Just love to point it out to you. That's magnificent. Jason, thank you. Look at the bombed out church at the bottom that I tried to show you before. There's loads of stuff on there. You've got St. John's Gardens as well. Anyway, people, I'll just read out a few more comments. I'll get that up again. I'll get that up again. That picture is beautiful, as substance, the old buildings, says Jay Kismet. Yes. And as Kismet says, there would be God's insight to new Liverpool fans around the world. Yes, so that's a crack of that. Great comments tonight. Thank you so much, people. Fascinating but sad at the same time, says Redbird. This Liverpool 1928 photo must have been taken by a balloon. No, it was 1885. Valley, 1885. Not a lover of how the waterfront is. That black, ugly building and far. Yes, says Lynn. Well, you know my take on that, Lynn Ellis. You know my take on that. Liverpool FC first game after the war was against Chester in the FA Cup, says Kenny. Kenny Dalglish. Mark Kinnish. Frank, did you have a nice holiday? How was it? That was good. It was good. Jay Kismet, this all reminds me of Back in the Future where the Doc had to get the electric from the lightning from the bill. Yeah, that's that. They were great films, though. They really were. Oh. But Kenny, Frank was at the game. He looks good for his age, though. That's because, you know, the Chester game after the war. Thank you. Thank you. Looks good for his age. Oh. Like says, I remember you saying once, Frank, going right back as far as you can in history, the problem has always been governments. Yes. That was amazing, all the changes. Now the photo you show, Frank, yet one thing remains is royal Tory greed. Oh, you wouldn't think so. I love the Titanic, says Kenny Dalglish. Illegals don't need food banks, yet our own people do, says Redbeard. Yep. You get called for everything, not by me. Looking forward to the Titanic one, Frank. Great, I love the Titanic, says Kenny and Mark. Exactly. Kenny, I don't want to upset you, mate, but the Titanic song, though they say it was their sister ship. I'm leaving you behind, says Valley. Tell us more. I've got to finish, boys and girls. Let's see. Frank, hang on. Redbeard. Kenny, I'll let Frank tell you all about the Titanic. It will be a fascinating show. Yes, it is. Thanks, Redbeard. Mark Kinnish, Frank, you made a much better actor in the Gunpowder Plot than the stupid ones they have made on the BBC. Yeah. Yeah. There's your waterfront people. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'll have to finish off, you know. I'm awfully sorry, dude. Mazes, yeah, I'll carry a toothbrush on his tour, says Redbeard. You'll have to have a long lead because I've got an electric one. That's all I use. Valley, yes. Mazes, yes, please do that. I love real crime, so that's a big fat yes from me, says Redbeard. That was the Godfather right there, the way Frank said that. The Capo di Tutti Capi. Kenny Dalglish, I swear to God they should show these in school. My history class in school was boring, but not the context the way it's told. You have a great talent, Frank. Oh, thank you, Kenny Dalglish, fanatic. Thank you so much. I got the greatest compliment I've had great compliments, and I'm not boasting when I say this. I'm just humbled. And it was off Ken Dodd, Sir Ken Dodd. And he said, you're the finest historian on the whole of Merseyside. I was so taken aback. Hope you've all liked people, says Redbeard. Thank you. Thank you so much. A talk on the first for the city. I'll do all that. Yeah, no problem. I'll do all that. Like the first X-ray, like the first of everything, to be honest. Arthur Schofield, that's murder, isn't it? Jay Kismet. It's the same as the Punjab Jat people of India, very resourceful, but I've had a lot to hate to go along with that. Absolute banger of a show, Frank. Looking forward to the next one. Frank, I was on the way to work today in the rain. I could have danced in the street like she could have done there, man. History teacher at school, we would have all definitely learned more about the war. Do you know what? More about, the world. The thing is, you see, just go straight into something. I always give a preamble to what leads up to things, like the First World War, for example. The First World War goes back to the 1871 Franco-Prussian War. It goes back there. The seeds were sown. And when you get 1891, you have what you call the Schlieffen Plan. And that was like the Germans said, we'll draw the British into France and we'll sort them out, and we'll go east to Russia and sort them out. That was the Schlieffen Plan. They were the Germans. So it's things like that. You've got to have you've got to be updated with why it started. Everything has started because of a seed sown. It's not just like that. You don't go into anything without that. Like the Romans, I can tell you all about the Romans and the AD 43 invasion. I could tell you all about that, but there's a preamble. Why? There's always an excuse. There's always a reason to start things. You just don't do it like that. Right, I've got to finish. Thank you so much, people. You've been absolutely wonderful. Fantastic comments as well. I'm just going to end on, what does Mark say? Yeah, didn't they want to make them into car parks where no, they want, not a car park. They want, you're right, a car park. You're right. Multi-story car park. You're right there. Good going, Jason. Great show as always, Frank, including Jason. Take care. See you all, says Mark. And Jay, Back to the Future 1, the part where the guys came off the dock, came to get the dock, the sign next to Marty said 1911 and Twin Pines. Very good, very well observed. Kenny Dalglish, fanatic. Oliver Twist, the Scouser, Frank. Yes, and I told Kenny that. And he was going around all night shouting over to me, Frank, what now? Oliver Twist, the Scouser, wasn't he? And I was going, yeah, he was, because I told him the story. After Schofields, I believe it went down near the completion when they started cutting costs, cheap quality of vital components. Are you talking about the Titanic, are there? Because you're spot on there. Bally S, peace and love to all. Thank you, Valley, darling. And Kenny Dalglish. And Jay Kismet, peace, people. You never walk alone. Top show, Frank. Thank you. And all I've got to say is I've got to thank my sponsors, which is wonderful, for them. That's Gap Painting Services. All top people. Thank you, Gap Services. If you're an OHP, if you're an NHS worker, brilliant discounts, and I mean that. And they're in and out. Do a great job. I've got to thank Jason, it's just seeing the quality of Jason there. You're just seeing him when he's putting these things up. Great producer, great friend of mine. But most importantly, it's you out there. You're the ones I have to thank. Because without you out there, there'd be no Frank Carlyle show. And if you're football fans, don't forget tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. And the title is Mentality Monsters. That's all. Mentality Monsters. So if you're a good fan, Liverpool fan, join me tomorrow. George Scott, Marios Manzos, and Tommy Batty. And thanks, Jason, says Jay Kismet, you'll never walk alone. Thanks, Jason, says. Oh, no, yay, says Valley. Thank you. I like that, though. Peace, people. You never walk alone. Top show, Frank, from J.K. Kismet. Thank you. See you all tomorrow, all you wonderful football fans, all you history buffs. I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. You've got your great company, great comments. Sorry I couldn't read them all. Thank you so much. Thank you. I shall leave. I shall leave now and I shall plant things. Yes. I tried to take off a German then, but it never worked. Never worked. See you tomorrow night, you football fans, and hopefully, all you history people, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye now.